been out of a marketing role in an office for 9 years actually. So I went feeling positive rather than full of fear.
We have a lovely example of a marriage, I think, made in heaven, based on what we were talking about last week. So tell us, Andrew, what were your concerns about going down the return route? What was the reality? How's it been for you?
I mean, I don't think we had a lot of concerns because I think, all agencies look for an edge. An edge often comes from the skills, the life experience, and creativity that people hire. So actually hiring research makes a lot of sense. And actually, our experience is that it works really well because actually a lot of the young ones really do, appreciate the counsel, the wisdom of the elder, what it's bring. I think the bigger issue for us is, what is it that returns back to do? So, looking at Imogen as one example, she has amazing experience of grassroots activism, art, entrepreneurship, the media. We just weren't meeting people with those sort of skills unless they were something.
So if we bind ourselves up with structures that we used to have, then that's not going to take us very further forward either. So your willingness to be saying, well, okay, we've got this person with these particular skills, this is kind of what the structure typically looks like, but actually how can we work this out? How can we be flexible, adaptable, and bring those skills into our organisation? Thank you. So Imogen, then, how are you getting stuff done? What's it been like for you being a returner? What would you like to tell us?
Well, so thinking back to what it was like at first, I started the job with the usual fears that you might expect. How on earth am I going to juggle getting 2 children, 5 and 8, into school and then getting into work, not looking flustered on time, and the technology, getting my head around all the new platforms, because I felt that I might be a bit out of touch. But that was actually countered. The overwhelming feeling was one of gratitude. Gratitude to be going back into, an exciting, high-powered role in an agency. Gratitude to my employer for taking a punt on me, because I'd been out of a marketing role in an office for 9 years actually. And so that was pretty bold. So, I felt huge gratitude, and also to the Back to Business Ship scheme for allowing me to meet Set Newgate through the speed dating program, which I think is absolutely brilliant. So I went feeling positive rather than full of fear. I didn't, my experience of the first, say, 3 months, frustration didn't really come into it. It was challenging. But I think because Set Newgate has quite a collegiate, flat structure that very much focuses on the unique capabilities of individual consultants, I felt respected for my experience from the get-go. I did, you are in an agency, obviously there is no slow start. In the final interview, I was talking to Andrew about I said, oh, well, I expect when I arrive, I'll spend 3 months getting to know the ropes, getting to know, clients' needs before I start putting my head above the parapet. And in fact, I was told in no uncertain terms, you'll be jumping in the deep end because, we're under-resourced and we really do need you to sort of hit the ground running. So in the event, that was fine. I did hit the ground running. Within a couple of weeks, I was, in big client meetings. I was writing copy for some important clients. Within my first week, I had to write the company blog. But it was absolutely fine in the end. And the whole sort of getting up to speed with the technology, that turned out to be a molehill rather than a mountain. And I think also what was important was that I came back 3 days a week. So I didn't come back to full time, and I think that really helped. And now, as of this month, I'm going 4 days a week, but it feels like it's the right time. I've been there a year and a half and I'm ready for it. So, yeah, I mean, the other thing I will mention, in an agency, you're expected to be an expert. And of course, when I came back into into an agency, well, into a marketing role, I didn't feel like the expert I was expected to be. So there was quite a lot of having to fake it to make it initially. But that was absolutely fine. And I did a lot of research, a lot of listening. After a few months, I got over my imposter syndrome. Brilliant. But there was a funny moment where I think it was sort of 2 or 3 months in, I received an email from HR with the title Imposter Syndrome. And I thought, they're on to me.
They found me out.
They found me out. And in fact, it was a deck that was showing how everybody feels imposter syndrome. And in fact, our CEO, Emma Kane, even talked about how she felt it herself, and in certain situations. So that was actually very encouraging.
Well, you're in good company. Judi Dench also has imposter syndrome, and is always convinced she's going to be asked to leave a rehearsal room. So yeah. So
It's very
okay with it. Being very supported by Andrew and by the organisation.
Very supportive.
Concerns about technology. I'm still getting to speak with technology. And dealing with our inner critic and our imposter and tuning that down and just allowing yourself to step into that space and do all the things that you know you can do well. What would be your top piece of advice for any returner or potential returner listening to us this morning?
Well, I mean, in terms of getting the role, the speed dating platform, initially I had 10 minutes to sort of pitch myself. And I managed to get through that because I was very much focusing on the skills that I could see Set Newgate needed. So I focused on my copywriting skills in green energy, green finance. So that got me through to the next stage, which was, a sort of bigger Zoom interview with Andrew Al-Kelly, the head of communications. And there it became very clear to me there was no specific role that they had in mind. So I thought, oh my goodness. So after the general chat, I thought I'm going to have to invent a role. I'm going to have to pitch them a role, which I did. I wasn't asked to, but I just sort of suggested this is what I'd like to do at your organisation. And I think that clinched it because later on in the face-to-face interview, I was told that it was my tenacity that had impressed them. And so I would say just if there is no obvious role, just invent a role that sells your experience and your skill set.